Hi everyone, today I'll be discussing Shakespeare in the Bush and how it illustrates the powerful role worldview plays in interpreting meaning across cultures. The article follows a young American woman who visits a tribe in West Africa. When she tells them the story of Hamlet, she discovers that they interpret it completely different, based on how their own beliefs are. By the end, she understands Hamlet and storytelling itself in a completely different light. This story really shows how worldview affects cultural meanings. The tribe really doesn't have a complete understanding of the story as it's told originally because they have so many cultural differences. One of the main things that the tribe doesn't have an understanding of is they don't even have a word for the word ghost because they don't believe in individual spirits after death. They also see Claudius's marriage to Gertrude as a good act, and he was being caring for the family, while most Westerners see it as a betrayal. The ethnocentric bias in the story comes from the narrator's belief that everyone should understand Hamlet in the same way she does. When the elders question her about the ghosts or morals, she gets frustrated, and instead of adapting her explanation, she just moves on and tells them that's how it is. This shows how easily ethnocentrism can slip into cross-cultural communications. I really enjoyed how this story breaks down the idea that our cultural values are normal or best, depending on who is on the receiving end of the cultural values. The Tiv people viewed Hamlet's uncle as very honorable for marrying his brother's widow, and were shocked that Hamlet would harm an elder. Their reason is very consistent with their values, and just like how the Western world sees his brother marrying his widow as a betrayal, and can completely understand why Hamlet would want to harm his uncle and how he doesn't agree with his mother getting married so quickly. While meanwhile in the story, the tribe's people mentioned that she was smart to marry quickly because who was going to plow her fields and who was going to take care of everything. Whereas Western cultures understand that maybe there's servants to be doing the plowing, and or even Hamlet could have done it himself, as opposed to needing to be married as quickly as she did. A good example from my American culture is Thanksgiving. This is a tradition that many Americans, it's about family and gratitude and reflecting on the first people to make the pilgrimage to the Americas. And that's how Americans view Thanksgiving. But to Native Americans, it really does represent the beginning of a tragic period of loss and cultural destruction that these new people who didn't respect the original worldview of the natives brought upon them. And it really shows kind of how worldview changes the meaning of, of even one solitary event. Two different cultures and two different worldviews can view this very differently. And so while some people might find Thanksgiving a time of celebration, other people with different worldviews would not see this as a time of celebration. One best practice for cross-cultural communication is to pause and take a beat to really understand where the other person is coming from. In the story, the narrator becomes very frustrated when the people in the tribe don't grasp what a ghost is. Instead, she is quick and says, oh, well, that's just how it is. Instead, she could have used a different description that maybe fit within their beliefs, or asked for understanding, or better asked them to give her better words to describe what she was looking to describe. I experienced something pretty similar when I worked at a daycare with many families from India. I misread a little girl's mannerisms as rude, but later I realized they were just part of her cultural expressions. It reminded me how quickly we can misunderstand behaviors when we filter it through our own worldview. The biggest takeaway from Shakespeare in the Bush is that worldview shapes all interpretation. No culture has a monopoly on the truth. Meaning always depends on the perspective. When we approach others with humanity and curiosity, we not only understand them better, but we also expand our own worldview as well. Thank you.